Dom Scala, you are live.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Diving In with Dom Scala. We're going to have another great show for you tonight, but we'll be back in about 2 minutes, so stay with us. We have the great Tommy John coming on in about 10 minutes. Stay tuned. All right, we're back.
Welcome back.
Nick, good to see you. I haven't seen you in 3 weeks.
I don't know about that, but
I haven't seen you here in 3 weeks.
we haven't done this in 3 weeks. You're right.
Hey, we got a lot to talk about. You know, we got the great Tommy John on tonight. I can't wait to get him on. 26-year Major League player. Isn't that unbelievable?
It's crazy.
That's
yeah.
unbelievable. But first, we got some things right off the bat. Okay, that's our first segment, right off the bat.
That we do.
You know, I was watching a Yankee game the other night. Michael Kay, Paul O'Neill, and David Cohn were talking, and it kind of struck a nerve with me, a funny nerve with me. They were talking about retirement and do they miss the game and all of that. And it's pretty much what I think about it. Like, you don't miss the travel, but you do miss the camaraderie of the guys. You know, you miss the competition of the game and things like that. But it's funny because they also were talking about that sometimes they have dreams about being, you know, in a game situation, even though they're retired. And what happened is Paul O'Neill was saying that sometimes he's getting up to the plate and he forgot to put a shoe on.
Oh, man.
You know, and it's funny. I mean, that was a funny thing because it's funny with me. I've had dreams before myself that I had just made an out in the game and I had to get back on the field and I put my catcher's equipment on. And what do I forget? I forgot one of my shin guards.
Oh, man.
So it's kind of like, I don't know what that means, but it's unbelievable how things like that, you know, come about, you know, when you're talking about things like that, you know. So listen, how about Don Mattingly? Don Mattingly just turned 60 years old. Welcome to the club, Donnie. Last week, I sent him a text to say, welcome to the club. And he said, Dom, he says, you're much older than me. He said, and I am older than him. And there's Donnie right there as a young buck with the Yankees. Okay, we were teammates back then. And this is him recently. He looks pretty good. He still looks pretty good, Nick, you know?
Not bad for 60.
I give him a lot of credit. Donnie's a great manager and a great guy. He did a lot of favors for me coming to some events at Adelphi, and I really appreciated that, you know? How about DeGrom? I just found out DeGrom has a little tightness on his side. That might not be anything that's too bad, but, you know, of course, today, the way that media is, they blow it out of proportion. Let's hope that he's okay, and maybe he'll come back and he'll start on Sunday. We'll see what happens, you know?
Yep.
A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about, you know, when you get a change of scenery. there's a lot of guys that change teams. Sometimes they're not good in one place. You know, they stay there for a few years and they just can't get it. And then they move on, they get traded, or they sign as free agents and they hook up with other pitching coaches and managers. And sometimes, a lot of times, it helps them. I'll give you a guy right off the bat, Nick. Steven Matz, right there. I believe he's won 4 straight games. He's found a home in Toronto, you know, and I think that took a lot of pressure off him being in New York, which is a good thing, and I'm happy for Steven, you know. Another guy, Sonny Gray with the Reds. He was with the Yankees, you know. He was with the Yankees and didn't do well. Went over to the Reds and pitched very well. Another guy, Matt Harvey, okay, is now with Baltimore. Started in the 2013 All-Star game, was a phenom from 98, 99 miles an hour. Got hurt. Few other things happened to him in his life. The New York life got to him. But now he rejuvenated his career. I believe he's 3-1, and I'm glad to hear good things about him there. Another guy, Byron Buxton, who was the the player of the month right there. A couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, you can knock the bat out of this guy's hands, but he's gotten bigger, stronger, and better. He's now has 8 home runs, about 20-something RBIs, and now he's the player of the month in the American League there. Okay, so that's good stuff, you know. Another guy, Jesus Aguilar, who was really good with the Milwaukee Brewers, had a couple of bad years, rejuvenated with the Miami Marlins, and now I think he's second in the league in RBI. So I'm happy for that guy also because he's a pretty good hitter, that kid, you know. Hey, let's play GM. How's that, Nick?
Okay.
Let's play GM. You know, Brian Cashman's a good friend of mine and does a great job with the Yankees. We all know that, but nobody is 100% all the time. But I think that we all like to play GM once in a while. And I think the Yankees right now, even though, you know, we see good things from Gleyber Torres, great player, but I really believe that his best position is second base. I think it takes a lot of pressure off him playing shortstop. You're the leader of the infield. There's so much you got to do, and I think that he's a guy that needs to be playing second base. I really believe he's got a strong arm when he turns the double play. I think it'll free him up his mind for his hitting. Right now, his hitting is not the greatest. He's kind of like jumping at the ball right now. But in my estimation, a guy that I think that they should get is Trevor Story from the Colorado Rockies. I love this kid, okay? Hits for power, great arm, can play shortstop, makes all the routine plays, okay? Hits for average, okay? And between him and Arenado at Colorado, the last few years, now Arenado is with St. Louis, those guys were a really great wrecking ball team right there. So I would love to see the Yankees. There's a lot of shortstops on the market after this year, Nick. But I'd like to see them get Trevor Story. I really would.
We'll see.
Now, another thing that I'd like to just talk about really quickly here, and this is an important stat that's overlooked, okay? It's not talked about much, but it's a very, very important stat. It's always an important stat for me as a coach and manager, and that's on-base percentage, okay? Let me just say this right now. The overall on-base percentage in Major League Baseball is 308, okay? The average should be around 350. When you're playing well and you're scoring runs, okay, your team on-base percentage should be around 350, okay? I like it to be higher, okay, but 350 is acceptable. 308 is not acceptable, and that's all 30 teams. That is all 30 teams. So let me take it a step further here. The Major League batting average right now, 30 teams, is 224. And there's no team in the National League that's hitting above 250. That is astounding to me. I mean, to me, it's unfathomable. I mean, I really believe that, these guys got to start hitting for average. And let's go another step further here. As of about 2 days ago, this is when I took this stat off, there was 5,429 hits and 6,500 strikeouts. Okay, that's a differential of over 1,000 strikeouts per hits. That's too much. That's too much. Now listen, I understand the home run is exciting. It's a big thing. I watch Quick Pitch every morning, and there's at least 3, 4, 5 home runs hitting games. And fans love it. Fans love to cheer watching guys go around the bases. But I think that, it could be the demise of baseball if you're going to have a lot of strikeouts, especially 1,000 more strikeouts to hits. So we're going to have to correct that some way. Now, I guess you must have heard today the Mets fired their hitting coach, Chili Davis. And Chili Davis, just so you know, everybody, amongst the people in baseball is one of the best hitting coaches in the game. That's what he's touted at. And he just got fired by the Mets. So somebody's not doing their job. And if you're not doing your job, it's going to happen. So it's too bad, but things do happen like that. Okay, so Nick, let's go to this segment now. It's called Now That's Entertainment. Okay? I wanted to highlight a piece of the game that you don't necessarily see anymore. And you know what that is, Nick, right? Ejections.
That's right.
Ejections. Let's go to the videos here. We have a few video clips here of some great old-time managers.
Some throwbacks. Yep.
We got some throwbacks. Can you roll it?
Sure. This is Billy Martin in 1988. This is,
it's Billy.
Yankees versus
Now,
Oakland.
This is great. This is a classic. Billy kicking the dirt, throwing the dirt on the umpire. I believe he made a bad call at first base here. They're jawing at each other. This is what the people really love to see. They love to see this stuff. The crowd goes crazy. It doesn't matter if it's Billy Martin or Earl Weaver or Aaron Boone. Anytime they see an umpire and a manager arguing, they love it. Do we have another one? Let's go to Earl Weaver, another classic. With Tom Haller we have.
There he is.
This is a real good one. There were some choice words said in this one. If you go to YouTube, you'll hear some really big F-bombs in this one. Okay? Look at Earl Weaver. All 5'5" of Earl Weaver, man. He was a bunch of dynamite, this guy. And there's Tom. Nick, these two guys didn't like each other. They were always at each other's throats.
I could see that, yeah. And we got one more. This is more of a recent one.
This is recent. This is Joe Girardi, correct?
This season, yep.
And listen, I don't blame Joe Girardi for being hot. They just hit one of his. They just hit a Harper in the face with a pitch, and then the guy Cabrera hit the next guy with the next pitch. He wasn't intentionally throwing at him, but he was trying to tell him you should throw him out of the game, which you cannot throw a guy out of a game just because he's wild. Okay, but Joe went crazy, and I'll tell you something. Joe has been thrown out 39 times in his career. Do you know that?
Was that number 39, or was that?
I think that was number 39. That's correct. That was number 39. Yes. Yep. We got another trivia question some night. Who has the most? Who has the most ejections of managers that are active today? That'll be a trivia question down the road. How about, do we have some more photos of some guys getting thrown out? There's Earl Weaver. Tommy Lasorda. Well, I'm sure Tommy John will have some good stories about Tommy. And there's Dom Scala right there. And there's Aaron Boone. Okay. I had some choice words for that umpire. I didn't like the way he was going about his business behind the plate, and I was just letting him know. You're not supposed to really argue balls and strikes, but I wasn't arguing balls and strikes. I was just talking to him in between innings, telling him to keep an eye on that low pitch. And there's Tommy. Tommy was great.
Yeah, it's something that you don't really see anymore.
So
right?
this is what you don't see anymore because of replay. Replay, they go like this now. This is what they do. All right? And that's how Boone got thrown out, because he said he didn't have enough time to talk about it. But hey, listen, this is the world that we're living in today, and this is what happens. You gotta change with the times.
That is true.
Okay? All right.
Should we go to everyone's favorite right now?
Yeah, let's go to trivia time, and then we'll get to Tommy John. Tommy is probably waiting in the wings there, right?
Yep,
Nick?
I see him watching, so he's ready to go. We'll ask our quick trivia question.
Okay.
Trivia time.
The rules to play is simple. Tap the question mark icon at the bottom of your screen to submit an answer. The first person to answer correctly will receive a copy of my book, One-on-One Baseball. Okay, Nick, we ready to go?
Yep.
And here's the question. And it's apropos because Tommy John is our guest. Here we go. Tonight's guest, Tommy John, pitched in Major League Baseball for 26 seasons. Who was the only pitcher in baseball to pitch more seasons than him? Okay? Tommy John pitched in 26 Major League seasons. There was only one pitcher who pitched in more seasons than Tommy John. If you have the answer, please put it in the box, and we'll get back to you after Tommy John. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right, Nick.
All
I
right.
need a drink of that right now. That was a lot of talking right there.
That was a lot. It seems like our guest is ready to go.
He's ready to go. Beautiful, beautiful. This is going to be a treat, everybody. This is going to be a treat. And as you know, he's our only guest tonight because we know Tommy has a lot of stories, and we're going to try to dive right into those stories, Nick. All right, here we go. Tommy John, known as the Bionic Man, pitched the majority of his major league career for two of the best teams in baseball, the Yankees and the Dodgers. He pitched for 26 years in the major leagues, and his career record of 288 and 231 with over 2,200 strikeouts. Unbelievable. He has the second most wins of any left-handed pitcher since 1900 that is not in the Hall of Fame. Between his wins, his strikeouts, and his longevity, in my estimation, as well as many others, they should have put him in the Hall of Fame. Let's hope the Veterans Committee gives him this honor someday. However, his legacy in baseball will be remembered forever because of his pioneering surgery on his UCL. We had a little tech.
We're back. Yep.
Okay.
Let's try to. We had some technical difficulties. I think it failed. Try to bring Tommy back now. All right.
Yeah, Tommy, are you there? Well, we're waiting for Tommy to come back. Sorry, everybody. We had a little technical difficulty. It happens.
Are you there?
Yeah, now we got you back, Tommy. Sorry about that.
No. That was my fault, I think. Actually, it was Nick's, but we won't go into that.
Yeah, we won't go.
No, we were talking.
Talking about the surgery.
Yeah, now guys go in the morning, have the surgery, and they leave in the afternoon, and they're doing their exercises and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was saying the same. I was saying the same thing. They don't use cast anymore. They have a brace where they turn the thing at different degrees, right, Tommy?
Yeah, it's so much better, but I mean, the longer it's out, the more knowledge you get on the rehabilitation, and
Sure.
it gets easier and easier, and the players come back, and everybody thinks. I've had a couple parents ask me this. My son's a pitcher, and we're going to take him in and have Tommy John surgery. I said, well, how did he hurt his arm? Oh, his arm's not hurt, but if you have the surgery, you throw harder. And I said, no, no. If you have the surgery and you throw harder, it means your arm was hurt before and you couldn't throw hard.
Right. Correct.
You get it fixed, and now you can throw the way God wanted you to throw. And with me, that was about 50 miles an hour.
Well, Tommy, when you were pitching, you had a great curveball. Do you believe that was your pitch? At 18 years old, that's how you got signed. Am I correct? Because the scout, you said you had a major league curveball. You didn't throw the ball hard. Now, do you believe that maybe that curveball could have affected, that on the nerve there?
No.
All the curveballs?
I don't think so, because when I got into the games, I never threw that many curveballs in a ball game.
Really?
Yeah. If I threw 100 pitches, let's say, and I had a good fastball, I would throw maybe 15 curveballs.
You had that sinker, right? You relied on the sinker, correct?
Sinker, and I'd make you have to go out and get it. Then when you would go out and try and get the sinker, then that
I can't hear him.
ball inside
I got you.
or a curveball. You know, so
Gotcha.
It's just I couldn't pitch in this game today where they pitch with well, you've thrown 4 fastballs, now you got to throw a curveball or whatever. I quit the game when I was 46. I was learning my 3rd pitch. I pitched all those years with a fastball and a curveball. I didn't know how to throw a changeup, and I was learning how to throw a changeup right at the end. And Dave LaPointe was showing me how to throw one. And
did you turn that pitch up? Did you turn that pitch over like Messersmith used to do?
Well,
and guys and Mike Marshall used to turn it over, right?
Well, they threw screwballs, but what I did is I was playing in a golf tournament out here in Palm Springs, and I had dinner one night with Don Drysdale, and we were talking, and I said, I can't find any way to throw a changeup. And Drysdale laughed, and he said, neither could I. And I go, huh? He said, I couldn't throw a changeup. I said, but how did you change speeds? And he said, I left my back foot as close to the rubber as I could.
Oh, so he kind of like dragged that back foot.
A dead leg. Johnny Oates called it my dead leg fastball. And you throw it, but you leave your back leg back, and you can't throw it as hard.
Right.
But it's got, maybe 8-10 miles an hour slower, 6-8 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour slower. And I looked at him and I said, so that's how I change speeds. In fact, I even threw my curveball like that, where I left my back foot on the rubber throwing the curveball. Well,
Tommy, I remember you when I used to catch you in the bullpen almost every day back in the day. You used to love to throw and you used to love to experiment. I remember certain times you were working on a backup slider, with the left-hander so you can get it on their hands. Now, you said to me, I really never did that, but I remember it. I remember you going like this, like you wanted to throw, and you backed the ball up. You and Art Fowler would be talking about that. Remember Art Fowler, right?
Oh, God, please.
Hey, Tommy, let me ask you this question while we got that. Who was the best pitching coach that you ever had?
2 of them. I'm going to name 2.
Go ahead.
Ray Berry's, number 1. He was the pitching coach with the White Sox. He taught me how to pitch. Secondly, when I was with the Dodgers, Red Adams was as good as Ray, and very good. And then I tell you who was good was Sammy Ellis.
Sammy Ellis, that was on the tip of my tongue too.
Sammy Ellis and Mark Connors were both very good. But, they didn't teach you pitches. Get the ball out of your glove. The guy with the White Sox, get the ball out of your glove as quickly as you can, and then it'll be up in the throwing position, and then you just throw.
Gotcha. So tell me about managers. I'm sorry.
Well, the longer you leave the ball in your glove, the more your body gets in front, and then you got to do all sorts of things to get your arm to catch up to your body. But if you get the ball out of your glove early, then when you throw, your hands ready to go.
Listen, I want to go back. Okay. He's going in and out. Okay. I want to go back just to Dr. Job, who was probably the most instrumental guy in your life, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that conversation. Tell us about the conversation when you went in and he said, hey, Tommy, let's try this surgery. What was that like? I mean, everybody would love to hear what that conversation was real quick.
Well, I tell you what it was like. That's just it. He said, you've torn the ligament in your elbow, and the only way we can repair it is that we've got to go in, and the surgery has not been done before. He said, I've done the surgery on polio patients.
Wow.
But I've never done it on a pitcher. And I said, but what do we have to do? What should we do? And he said, well, this is what I recommend, blah, blah, blah. And I go, okay, all right. And when it got done, if Dr. Job told me to go take a bucket of my dog's poop and bury it back at second base, I would have done it because I believed in him.
Really?
I believed in whatever he said. That's what I would do. And my last words to him was, let's do it. Let's get it done. Because the longer I wait on this end, the longer it's going to be on the other end of the operation for me to pitch. So I wanted to get it done and get going.
He's here.
Can't hear him.
He's not saying anything.
Okay. So, Tommy, here's something that a lot of people don't know about. It's on delay. You played basketball in Indiana, and you could have gone to the University of Kentucky. Am I correct?
Well, I was recruited by them, yeah.
Who was the coach then?
Adolph Rupp.
Adolph Rupp. Wow.
He came to our house. There were twins out of Indianapolis Manual Arts High School, Tom and Dick Van Arsdale.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys could play. They were good. And everybody was trying to get them to come to their school. And Adolph and his assistant were recruiting him over in Indianapolis. They ended up making an announcement that they were going to go to Indiana University. So then Adolph and his assistant coach came over to Terre Haute. And they knocked on the door and talked to my dad. And, they got done. And when my dad told Adolph, when he said, Mr. Rupp, I've never, ever really liked you. I've heard stories. And there was a kid from Terre Haute from our high school that went down there. And he told stories of Rupp actually taking his foot and kicking a player in the butt.
Wow.
Physically kicking him in the butt, cursing at him. And Rupp, to tell you how smart Rupp was, my dad says, well, I don't know if Tom's going to go to college. He's getting a lot of looks from pro baseball. And Rupp said this. Now, you're a college coach, and you just think of this. You're in talking to parents, and you tell a kid's father, well, your son might not be able to make the Kentucky baseball team. And that's when my dad went off on him. Coach Rupp, I've never liked you. I've never liked you, blah, blah, blah. And he said, Tom might not. He said, I'm going to tell you one thing. You see that door? Don't let it hit you in the butt on the way out. And he kicked Adolph Rupp out of our house. And
That's
nobody
great.
did that to Adolph Rupp. He didn't do that to Adolph Rupp. He was.
That's great. So Tommy, you were a four-time All-Star.
Right.
You should have been five-time All-Star. I know there was one year when you were 13-3 at the All-Star break and you didn't make it. But you also never won the Cy Young Award. What was your highest finish?
Second.
Was that twice you were second?
In both leagues, yeah. I was
both
second
leagues.
to Flanagan, Mike Flanagan, and I was second to Steve Carlton.
Wow, those are two greats, boy.
Yeah, two left-handers.
That's unbelievable. Do you enjoy baseball today, Tommy?
I don't watch it.
You don't watch. You know, there's a lot of old timers that don't watch it. Why don't you watch it?
It's not the same game that I played. The guys don't know how to play the game.
Mm-hmm. Home runs.
They have one bat speed. Swing it as hard as you can.
Yeah.
When you pitch, throw it as hard as you can. You know, they do. It's just not the same game. I don't think the players have the enthusiasm or the love of the game. You know, when I love the game. I mean, I absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think that they have that now. And then you've got all the geniuses that are going with spin rate, and it's not the game. And I don't enjoy seeing the guys hit a ball to shortstop and trot down to first base. That if I were managing and a guy did that, he's not making enough money to
Right.
fill the fine fund. If when I managed in the minor leagues, all I asked my pitchers, who on the team do you think dogs it? And they told two or three names. And I said, okay, I'll go along with you. Yeah, probably. I said, so when you hit a ball back to the pitcher or to the third baseman, you run from home to first as hard as you can run. It's not going to take anything out of you. It takes nothing out of you. That's why you run in the outfield in between starts to do stuff like that. And I said, you run as hard as you can. And when you do that, the players will look at you and say, whoa, I got to run a little harder because my pitcher's running his butt off. And I just, I just hate to see it. I got to save myself. Was it Kershaw the other night? Gave up some runs in the first inning, and they pulled him out of the game.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, maybe he was hurt. I don't know.
Well, the other night I was watching the game, and Cole was on the mound, and he was winning 10-0, and they took him out after the 6th inning. Only 86 pitches. I'm saying to myself, let's cut this game down a little bit. Go to the 7th at least. This way you cut the game down a little bit. Now you only have your relievers for 2 more innings. You know what I mean? Let him extend his arm a little bit.
I know. That's the thing. You can train your arm to throw 125, 130 pitches a game.
Right.
You got to train it. And you do that by throwing. And not by long throwing, but by throwing from the rubber to home plate.
Correct.
And when you do that, you